Very good afternoon to all my dear students and all those who are joining us for this webinar today. I would begin by introducing myself. My name is Shari Pillai and I am representing International Relations Cell here at Parul University. With me, I am very glad to invite my panel of speakers today. So I have with me Mr. Nicholas. He is the co-founder of SolidariaMente. I have Augusto. He is the Chief Growth Officer associated with SolidariaMente. And also I have with me very beautiful Maria. She is the Chief Communication Officer. So thank you very much for joining with us today. And to the audience, I would just like to give a little bit brief about what exactly SolidariaMente is. So, in today's world, when we are a lot into ourselves, where we do not get, though we want to, but we are not able to get time and we are not able to do too much. So, services what NGOs offer, we at some point of time we do think that we need to get into it, but unfortunately, some can and some cannot. But it is very good to hear that we do have organizations like yours, wherein you bring together people, where you bring NGOs and students together, and this also gives a very strong base. It sets a very strong base. It gives a very strong message to the students, towards humanity, towards the services, and towards how they can give back to the society. So again, a very noble purpose, which is very beautifully done and taken forward by your team. So it's a very remarkable work that you are doing, and in different parts of the world where attention is needed and where we have such a strong youth with us, those who can connect with us and take these activities forward. So your contribution towards human, this thing is very, it's remarkable, right? So it's very honor, and it's a great honor that we could arrange this session so that we can educate our students also during the for the same purpose, right? So over to you, and maybe you can introduce yourself, and we can go ahead with the session.
Sure. So, well, hello everyone. My name is Nico. I'm co-founder of Soli, as everyone said. I am from Buenos Aires, Argentina. I've been working with Maria and Augusto for a couple of I think a year more or less now. Probably August, Maria, if you want to introduce briefly yourselves, and then we can get on with the presentation.
Yes, of course. First, thanks, Sherry, for those kind words. And I'm Maria Arancibia, and I'm a student, and I'm Chief Communication Officer for SolidariaMente, and I'm here to tell you about external and internal communications for Soli.
You're on mute, Aus.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Nico, for the advice. I'm Augusto. I'm the Chief Growth Officer here at SolidariaMente. I'm super glad to be joining here, and I'm happy to tell you more about what we're doing and to inspire you to do either similar things or to join SolidariaMente.
Great. So we have prepared a presentation for you guys in order to tell you a bit about our organization. Maru is going to start mainly with everything related to our communication strategy. Then I'm going to share a bit about mission and vision, and we're going to be finalizing with Augusto, talking more about our tactics on the field and how we are developing the methodology. So Maru, on to you.
Great, Nico. Thank you very much. Firstly, again, thank you all for this space. I think it's very important for us to start communicating what we're doing. And a university such as yours is a great example of people that really want to make a difference, and your students that being part of Soli can make a great impact on your local community. And I would like to talk about a bit of what we're doing and how we try to motivate people all around the world and try to reach more places in this method. So next slide, please, Nico. Okay, to start, I really like to talk about SolidariaMente, what really represents and what it means, because it's a Spanish word, so it's nice to make a point here, it is understood like this. It refers to solidarity, friendly, united, fraternal, and I think it really englobes what we try to do with our projects, because we try to connect students and young professionals with ONGs to try to really work together towards an outcome that really helps out a lot of people, because we're not just helping the volunteers. We, in fact, are trying to, with this whole channel, try to help people in their main poverty or in less fortunate spaces. So we wanted to really make emphasis on this and invite you all to call it Soli, because that's how we sometimes call it, just to shorten the name, and it's kind of short and sweet. And this as a whole represents our mission, which, Nico, if you go to the next slide, thank you, that is really to empower NGOs, as we said earlier, around the world, and link them with universities such as yourself, and create a lot of places for personal and professional growth, which, all in all, this could be a great learning experience, guys, because I think that that's the best way to learn. You not only get to work as a team and really get a lot of experience from that, but learn about consulting and social consulting, which is a very specific type, but it could be really helpful for your career, and to work with a multidisciplinary team can help a lot and give you a lot of tools for your work and for your life as a whole. And the fact that you can do this with NGOs, it's good because you're really making an impact. And myself, I have participated in project, and it's a great experience. So I really want to try to convey this communication, because this message, because it is very nice to have this kind of experience. And as a whole, an organization, we have this vision that we really want to scale who we are and reach every day more and more people, not only countries, like people, and try them to be motivated and proactive with us. And we would like to share some statistics. Firstly, that we are over in more than 10 countries, and this is not to take lightly. At least we are very proud of it, because SolidariaMente officially started last year in 2020, and the fact that we are today communicating that we are in 10 countries, that is it's a great achievement. And I think it's something that can make you understand how quickly SolidariaMente is growing, and why that is, because people are attracted by this message that we are giving, and they are really wanted to make an impact in their communities, because it's really that. And it's very beneficial that it's a short time lapse that you have to make a project, and you being students with short time, it is very useful to have that short period, and you really make an impact, and you get to communicate with people from NGOs that have very different life circumstances, perhaps. And we had, in this situation, the opportunity to work with over than 100 students and more than 30 NGOs, which is a great number. Thank you, Nico. So in the next slide, maybe this is something about communication as a whole, that we as SolidariaMente try to give an image of minimalism. And this lovely light bulb, it's our logo, and it's simple, and it's this bright yellow color that we have named it Soli Yellow. And we have like this, our font that it's ours. And we like to specify, because we want to be identified with this. And this light bulb, I think it really shows this light bulb we want to spark in people's heads to really be motivated and join us, because that's what we're looking. We're looking for people that really want to collaborate. You don't need to have the best tools, because you can learn that, but we really want you to be proactive and interested in this project. And last but not least, show some kind of examples of success that we had with some NGOs. Barely to go over it. This is Fundación Pilares, which is an NGO from Argentina. and we had the opportunity to work with them. They work with children and that are like in context of some vulnerability, and we came with them and we figured out that they had a lack of metric system to really measure their success. So we went with them, we tried to understand them, and then created this system of indicators so they can really understand and monitor their management. So in a whole, we get to work with them with aspects that they maybe don't have time to get to because they're busy with more difficult tasks that are urgent, like helping the rights for children. But in a whole, we are helping them in the structure of their NGO. And another case of it is with Gaia, which is from Brazil, another country we had the opportunity to work in, that they try to maximum the potential of education. And same, we try to work with them. That's the basic of what we do, and then present them several opportunities to help them with certain aspects. And here we help them with a marketing plan, for example, which is completely different from the previous. So every project can be really different. It depends on where you go with it, and that's the beauty of it, of course, I believe. And we help them maybe with achieve a new financial stability goals. And all in all, I think Soli can be a great tool, not only for your local community, but for yourself as a learning method. So we are delighted to be here and present this with you. And I'll leave Nico with some space to continue with the talk. Thank you.
Thanks, Maru, for the very interesting information and comments you shared. So basically, I'd like to start my part probably sharing with you a story that I think it's a really significant story of how SolidariaMente started and usually why we have the culture that we have. So basically, around 2017, I was with some university friends, right? And we had this thought like saying, we have extra time because of our university. Probably we had some space, we weren't yet working. So we had like this extra space to do things. And we suddenly said, okay, what happens if suddenly we contact an NGO and we offer them to put our knowledge to work for them, right? So basically, that was intended to be just a single project. We weren't even called SolidariaMente, and I think we were facing like a monster that we never imagined that was really there, right? And why I'm saying this, because when we started to do the project, we found two main things. One of them was that there were many NGOs that were looking for help, and that providing this help to the NGOs was no easy task, right? And on the other end, what we found was that there were many students wanting to help NGOs, but many of them were facing blockages in different aspects or dimensions of the project that they wanted to do. So we heard comments like, we don't have a team. We heard comments like, I don't have a proper methodology. We heard comments like, I can't find an NGO, So basically, I think at that moment, and while we were doing the first project, we found out that there was a really important necessity of some of NGOs requesting help, but at the same time, students had lots of barriers if they wanted to connect with those NGOs. So I think that time in 2017 was the moment where we first drafted this idea of saying, hey, what happens if we're able to create an NGO that connects students with universities, and that every single student that wants to do a project with an NGO, the only thing that they have to do has to raise their hand, right? So basically, as Maru well said, that is what crafted our mission and our vision towards NGOs, right? But basically, this started as a challenge in Argentina, and I think probably one of the most important things we found here was the ambition for replication, okay? So this is basically, we had a sort of a product, right, that was working in Argentina, and suddenly we said, hey, if students from Argentina are interested in working, right, will a student from Brazil be interested in working, right? So suddenly, okay, we decided and we went and we brought our model to Brazil, right? And after that, probably the next question was, okay, Brazil, okay, so far so good. Would someone in Portugal be interested in our model and in working with us, right? And I think that probably one of my biggest questions since we started Solidariamente was, how will we be able to carry Solidariamente to many different parts of the world and to keep the spark? Because after all, it's all volunteer work, right? We are not paying anybody. Nobody is either paying to be part of Solidariamente or receiving money to be part of Solidariamente. So basically, then what is there any condition on human nature that we can rely on in order to have a motivated team to help NGOs? And I think that was one of the biggest questions that has been with Solidariamente since the start of days. And I think we found two main things that are the two key things why people are nowadays collaborating so much with us, and why we're developing this worldwide. No matter the culture, no matter the distance, we're able to communicate on basic human standards that we all share. And I think the first one is the sort of solidarity vocation that lots of people have around the world, right? So I think all of us share a common interest in helping those in need. And mostly if those people in need are going through challenging situations, and if there are many people that are probably focusing on that topic, right? So we found many people, for example, Portugal wanting to do projects in Angola and helping those countries out. We found people in Lebanon interested. So basically, I think that we have to feel very lucky that we had access to an education. And I think many of us share this idea of saying, hey, there's something that I can give back to society, and the only fact that I can give this back is something that motivates me enough to participate in a Solidariamente project, right? And I think the most wonderful part of this is that you don't have to give to Solidariamente only, right? Because Solidariamente is a win-win project for the NGO and for the students. So basically, we found a relationship that was NGOs receive free help, right, from a group of well-qualified people because they are students from a university. But students not only have the chance to participate in a social impact project, but they also have the possibility to know people from other cultures, to add valuable experience to the resume, right? So I think when we go about what's the fire that sparks Solidariamente, on one end, it's of course the common human nature that we all share in helping the other. And I think that's one of the most wonderful lessons that I was able to learn with Solidariamente. And the second thing is the ambition for expansion and our detailed towards methodology. So I'm not going to deep dive anything into that because we have Augusto, who is our expert on that topic. But I think that when we go to the success that Solidariamente is having globally, I think that's the key point, right? So basically, probably I went a bit through the story of Solidariamente. I went a bit about, how we kept the fire and how we kept on expanding. In fact, this number 10 countries is something that next week will change to 14. So it's something that keeps on growing. And what I want to share with you is probably what's the formula of Solidariamente, the secret formula, right? So I think we developed a win-win philosophy of work, of course. But basically, why does it work so well, right? So I think it's a combination, an ideal combination of two different teams, right? So we have, probably just to clarify how our help is materialized, we recruit 4 to 5 students from a university. Probably Augusto will now deep dive a bit more into that, but we have teams of 4 to 5 students, and these teams, they connect with NGOs in projects of around 3 to 4 months, right? So how are we able to get the ideal mix from both ends? On one end is from Solidariamente side, we have a methodology, of course, that we will now deep dive on. And we have sort of this clean look that is, okay, a group of students that have never touched the issue of nutrition, for example, in Africa, are seeing the problem for the first time, right? And many times this clean look that a consultant, an external consultant can have is free of many self-limitations that people that have been working with the issue many, many times can face, right? I'm not saying that they're going to bring the solution out all of a sudden. They have lots of things to learn, but they don't have any pre-imposed no's in their heads, right? Now, we also count, for example, with an experts network that we can consult on different programs that are people that participate in Solidariamente and have quite a renowned experience that can help us out to carry certain topics. But from Solidariamente side, we have like the theoretical approach. You know, we have the theory, we have the research, but the truth is, research without practicity does nothing. Okay, so that's why I think it's so good, this balance between Solidariamente and the NGO. And going towards the NGO, they are the ones that have the practical knowledge. Okay, they are the ones that can guide us in saying, hey, wait, suddenly we come with a theory and we say we should implement, for example, this certain process to recruit more beneficiaries for the NGO. And they are the ones that have been working 10 years with those people, right? So they know what works, they know what doesn't work, they know what they tried. They have the capacity for execution, they have the team on the street, you know? So basically, as a rounding up comment is, I think that Solidariamente is something that started as a dream, as just an ambition of a group of students from a university, and that I think the best thing we could do with ourselves was ask the right questions, and really in the process of growing was really focusing on, hey, okay, we like it in Argentina. Okay, how can we do a standardized manner of going to other countries? Okay, but it's not only about the standardized manner, it's how can we keep the spark of Solidariamente? And once we have that is, okay, how can our projects be effective? You know, what's behind a Solidariamente project? I think it's this, the ideal combination between students, time, and effort with the expertise and the local knowledge of the NGO. So having said that, I'd like to pass it on to Augusto to share a bit about our methodology and our strategy.
Great. Okay, thank you, Nico. Thank you, Maru. So first of all, I was going to discuss a little bit of how do we really operationalize these ideas that we had and these things that Nico was sharing and our mission and vision. We're gonna go a little bit over that. And also, we're going to go over how we restructured internally in order to achieve that growth that Nico was mentioning. Okay. So also, I wanted to touch upon something that is really important, I think, for this webinar, which is why would be beneficial for someone like you, for a student, to get into a Solidariamente project or a similar project. So I think we're going to build up on that. So starting on the next slide, what we're showing you here is what a typical Solidariamente project consists of. Okay, so as Nico said, as we were growing and we were expanding into different countries and to different NGOs and to more and more students, there was a necessity that we had to fulfill, which is structuring what a common project would look like. Okay, what does it mean to work for a consulting project? Just to give you a little bit of background, I have been working for management consulting for the past 3 years, and what you see here is super similar to what we do typically at consulting. Okay, so in the consulting world or the business world, we basically apply a certain framework, okay, which is a set of things or set of steps that we do to solve a problem for companies from around the world across different industries. So we had to find a way to create a similar framework or work plan that would fit most NGOs. Okay, so this is what you see here. We have 4 steps, which are the introduction, the work planning, the diagnostic and design, and the implementation. I'm going to deep dive into each of these steps so that you know what it means or what we do in each of those parts. Okay. So first, in terms of the introduction, the typical duration is 2 weeks. Yes, the goal of this section is to try to understand what the NGO does, what their mission and vision is, what their objectives are, and basically try to align on a partnership with them. Of course, as Nico said, the amount of NGOs that need help, unfortunately, or fortunately for us, but unfortunately, it's super big. Most of these NGOs don't have the money or the resources or the time to focus on specific issues that would help them have better operations. Okay, So we basically try to reach out to as many NGOs as we can to try to focus and create this student team towards a common goal. We then align on which are the key questions or the key issues that they have that we would like to solve. And the type of issues, again, are immense, as Nico said. They can be as, I don't know, I don't really understand my metrics. Yes. I don't really have the resources to expand. I don't really have the money or the fundraising to do so. So this is a really, really important part of the project, which is understanding what the needs of the NGO are. Okay. So on the second portion is the work planning. Okay, so when we reach here, we already know a little bit of what the NGO is doing, what their challenges are, and what is preventing them from getting to their weekly or yearly objectives. Okay, so what we do here is we deep dive into an analytical part of the project, which is identifying the critical issues and basically trying to align on a potential work plan for the NGO to work with and us as students and the group to continue. Nico, I think there's a slight noise.
Yeah, give me 1 second.
Don't worry. So again, as I was saying, in the work planning session, again, it's the analytical deep dives that we do in order to understand and align our potential work plan. As students, you would learn different things that are going to help you in your day-to-day life. Consulting, I like to think about it as a tool that helps you understand how to solve different issues that you can then apply to your day-to-day or your jobs. And there are two main concepts that are based on here in the work planning part, which are, we call them 80-20 and answer first. Okay, so what is 80-20? Basically it derives from a specific concept, a Pareto concept, which is, this is not important now, but what it truly means is try to focus, yes, your time on the most important things. Okay, typically these companies or these NGOs have plenty of things to do in their day-to-day lives. See, yeah, so they don't have the means to dedicate time to the most important things, or they don't have the time to say, okay, I'm going to step back, I'm going to try to understand what my critical issue is, and I'm going to act upon that, because they don't have the tools to understand what's the thing that's preventing them from achieving their goal. So 80-20 would be a way in which you would practice or try to focus on the most important things that prevent you in a way from getting to your goal. Okay, so that's a really, really important concept that is shown in the across the project, but specifically in this work planning part. And then there's something that's called answer first. So in consulting, we do a lot of hypothesis-based work. Okay, basically means that you try to understand or identify what the critical issues are, leveraging this concept that I told you about 80-20, and you try to create a simple question, which is the issue basically, and you try to set your answer or your hypothesis to answer that question. Again, there is a sea of information, a sea of different things that might be happening, but we try to focus again on the most important things that could change the company. So that concept, working in everything that we do, trying to prove that hypothesis or to prove that question, that's the answer first approach. Okay, so that phase is typically 3 weeks. Of course, so far in introduction and work planning, we work really, really closely with the NGO, because as Nico said, we typically come from outsiders, okay, which is just a fresh mind of what's going on. But we really do need to understand what the NGO is doing on a day-to-day basis, and we need that super valuable information that they have. Okay, so this part is super, super important, and the collaboration throughout the project is super important. And going into the next phase of the project, we go into the diagnostic and design. So far we have, of course, understood what the main issue for the NGO is. We've aligned with them what we were going to do and which were the key questions that we were planning to solve. Okay, so here we start on a phase that is more, okay, I understand the problem. Let's try to think what are the things that I can do to solve that problem. So this is the most the longest, yes, phase, because it's the most difficult one. Perhaps it's easy to get to understand what the issue is, but then trying to generate initiatives is not as easy as it sounds, okay? And there are plenty of complications, mostly, again, because we not all the times fully understand the operationalization of the NGO or the problems that might prevent them from doing a specific solution. So we need to brainstorm about many different initiatives, and we need to focus on the ones that make more sense towards identifying the problem here. So again, for example, COVID has changed a lot how we think about consulting or how we think about our day-to-day jobs. And many of the solutions that worked in the past do not work now anymore because of COVID. Okay, so again, those initiatives we need to brainstorm with them and to share with them to get and understand if it's a feasible option or not. Okay. And the most important part that we wanted to implement in our projects is the implementation. Again, as I was saying, I work for a management consulting firm. It's called Bain and Company. And the truth is that, of course, we do a lot of strategy work, but it's so short. The time in which we work for a company is so short that we are able to define the strategy, but not all the times we're able to stay there to execute that strategy. And we believe that for Solidariamente, as we are able to get the students for the NGO, we are able to get in touch with them and we're able to get their collaboration. We think it's important that we leverage these ideas in a way into action. And to do so, we have this implementation phase. For 4 weeks, everything that you have understood with the NGO, everything that you have work plan to identify critical issues, and every initiative that you have created or understood in a way to solve a specific issue, we want you to put it in action. We want you to really do change the world and change the world by helping a specific NGO. So this is what a typical SolidariaMente project consists of. Of course, we're evolving, and perhaps in the future we have different types of projects or different concepts. But as Nico was saying, this idea, this beautiful idea of helping NGOs around the world needed to have a consistency or a framework so that we can have like the formula to create projects around the world. And coming back to the question on why we believe, or perhaps this is my vision, what I believe this is really, really important to do something like this as a student, is mainly because of three things. The first thing is that in the other slide, Nico, thank you. What I was going to say is that there's something that you learn at university, which is, at least my university was mostly theory. Okay, so I as I was getting through the years in college, I got plenty of tools to, of course, work in the future. But I understood that these tools, I never understood how to use these tools, to be honest, until I had the opportunity to use those tools. So practice is super different than theory. I really do believe that putting all of those tools or that toolkit that the university, Parul University, is teaching you, should be important to put them in actions, to practice them in the true world in a way. So that's why I think that doing something like this is beneficial for you. Okay. Also, besides, which is the first point, which is practice is different than theory. The second point is you would do this, yes, in a social impact world. Of course, you can use the toolkit that you receive any way you like, of course, because you're free to do so. But it's beautiful to put all of the things that you have learned in action by applying them to a social impact role. Okay, here at Solidariamente, we believe that each and every one of us is here to make a difference in the world, and we believe we are a tool to help you guys or help everyone use their toolkit towards helping a specific NGO or their community or any other place in the world. So that would be the second point that I would like to say. And well, of course, the third point is that again, as I started consulting, I understood that working for Argentina, it's not the same as working for Brazil, which is not the same as working for Colombia, or not the same as working for Portugal, for Mali, for Liberia, for many other countries. And the truth is that working for a global NGO expands your understanding of different cultures. So for business or for every day-to-day things, as an Argentinian, it is really relevant for me to understand what the culture of Argentina is, or to put that in action in my community. But it's also super relevant to understand what other communities are doing or what other cultures are doing, because it helps me open my mind to different activities, to different ways that people live around the world. And this only helps me enhance my impact, because if I can understand how people in Portugal live, I can better understand how to help an NGO in Portugal. Okay, so I really do think that those three things are super valuable by working in a context like this, or for a social impact NGO, which is especially global. Okay, so those are my 3 points why I believe it's really important. So now, going over to the next slide, I wanted to tell you a little bit more about how we have achieved this growth in the past year. Okay, so as Nico said, the growth of Solidariamente has been exponential. Yes, we have been growing at a super fast pace. So it was really important when we started working together with Nico, for us to create a framework through which we could grow sustainably. Okay, and what we did is basically try to structure Solidariamente internally in 3 different pillars, okay, which are people, process, and technology. Okay, in terms of which is what you see in this graph, people is more the organization and talent part, which is the right hand side of the slide. Then we have the technology, yes, and the processes. These 3 things are things that are super important for a company to work. Are like I like to call them the 3 pillars, organizational pillars for Solidariamente to achieve this growth. So starting with people, the things that we did had to do with, of course, many different things. Perhaps this is not exhaustive, but recruiting, okay, a huge part of what we do has to do with trying to get to those students and trying to get to new countries and trying to get new NGOs. So we needed to define specific recruiting processes to get to more places from around the world. That's why Maru, the Chief Communication Officer, works. If you enter our Instagram in the next couple of days, we're launching a new phase of Solidariamente in Latin America, and we're trying to reach out to students or to universities through social media, and that's part of the recruiting efforts that we're doing. Of course, as Nico said, expert support, because of course, as a student, it's a little bit perhaps too much to think about making a consulting project for an NGO. It scares you, okay? And the truth is that we like to have expert support, people that have already done similar things, to help the students from around the world to achieve the results they want for the NGO. For example, they need to do an internal organization project for an NGO. Of course, we need to find them an expert that knows a lot about that, okay? Regarding people development, of course, we have a trajectory inside Solidariamente, and the objective is to, of course, train our project leaders, train our project analysts, train our regional leaders to create and manage different teams. So that's a super important part of what we do. And of course, it's important to get those new contacts, get the people that might help us grow, make a change in the world. Okay, and then regarding technology, a huge part of everything that we do nowadays is technology. Of course, we're able to communicate because of that. And the truth is that we wanted to bring more digitalization into the things that we did. We are creating databases to understand which were the projects in the past that we have worked with. We're trying to proactively contact the NGOs and the students with live feedback to understand what are the things that we can do to improve, what are the things that we're not doing correctly that we should change. Feedback is a super important part of our culture at SolidariaMente. And of course, IT standardization. We're working, again, when you grow super fast in a startup or perhaps an NGO in this case, you tend to have plenty of things that are mostly disorganized, because the true nature of startups and NGO is growing, and not all the time are focusing on perhaps organizing that growth. So that's why we are working in my team. We are trying to understand what are the things that we could standardize, what are the emails that we could standardize, how can we get for example, a Google Suite for the key people at SolidariaMente. So those type of things are the things that we're looking into in technology. And then finally, in terms of processes, okay, it's actually one of the most important parts. As I said, and as Nico said, actually, we're pushing hard to expand. Okay, and in that expansion, it's easier not only for us, but for everyone if there are processes in place. So, for example, we're starting a new project. Now we know what are the 4 steps of this process, which I've talked to you about. But if that didn't exist, it would be much harder to create a project from scratch, because the students would not really know what they're supposed to do, or we wouldn't even know what's the typical phase or status of the project. So we like to do things as structured as we can, because that only help us enhance the growth and enhance the impact that we have towards NGOs. Okay, so that's the case structuring. Of course, we're working hard on internal and external communications. We need to, as a company or as an NGO, understand what every other region is doing, and we were not doing that. Perhaps we didn't understand what the other region was doing, so we created specific communication groups through either WhatsApp or email, specific weeklies or other things that help us in a way grow. And of course, a huge part of us growing is developing new partnerships. So it's extremely important for us to keep growing and keep expanding into the world, to reach to the most important people around the world that can help us grow. Of course, one of those examples is Parol University, that has helped us, and we have a great partnership, and we're currently working in a few projects together with some students. So to be honest, I think that all of these 3 different parts of the circle for sustainable growth we're working on. And I don't know, Nico, if you have any comments on this or something that you'd like to go in more detail, but if not, we can go to the next slide, which is the...
No, from my end, not much comments. Let's go to the next one.
Perfect. So go ahead, Nico. I think you're the best person to Nico or Maru, actually, to explain this slide, what we're doing, and yeah, please feel free to continue.
Well, thank you. It was just a small thing before Nico closes this great talk. I love hearing my partners because they're amazing at speaking up and sharing what we do. But also invite you to follow us in our social media. And if you had any doubt or any comment you would like to give us, because we're also open to feedback, but we would like to answer all your questions and anything you need, you can write us to our Gmail account, which is here. So you can take a snap and you can talk to us, or any of our social media. We will be delighted to hear from you.
Great. So I think that's mainly from our side. Just a big thanks to to all of you for hearing us today. And of course, inviting you all to, as Maru said, connect with us. Let's talk. We have thousands of opportunities to work in Solidariamente. There are millions of NGOs around the world waiting to be helped. And I think that it's a door that it's really nice to open more at an early stage in our careers, because it opens so many other opportunities and it makes you know people from all the world. So I think that's one of the most wonderful things. So a big thank you, and I understand, Shari, that there are some questions that we might need to answer as well, or please let us know.
Yeah, so thank you so much. Thank you for sharing a lot of information. So I'm very happy that you Solidamente and PU is associated now. You're working on a partnership. Our social work students, along with your team, is working on a lot of NGO projects. So it's a learning experience for them, as our students are getting an exposure to learn to work with NGOs at an international level, at a global level. So that in itself is a very big opportunity for our students. They do get an opportunity to work at local level here in India, but to understand the challenges that is faced from different parts of the world, it is a good experience for our students. So again, thank you for giving our students this opportunity, and making them know exactly how things work in different part of the world. Okay. So one question that I was having in my mind when I was just listening to your presentation is like, you are generally targeting the youths, or is there any age group, or how do you work exactly?
No, I mean, as our philosophy from Solidariamente is, we try to be as inclusive as possible, so anyone can join. We've had people that were finishing high school. We have people with 5-10 years of graduate time or experience. The only thing from Solidariamente that we do request is compromise, and there's we saw a pattern that people that probably are of higher ages have other compromises, with their family, with their jobs, and those things. So basically, I think that the sweet spot we found was people, graduating from university or in the first years of their career, because they have some time to dedicate to this, and also they I don't know why, but they are particularly passionate in bringing this social impact. But if tomorrow someone of any age wants to join Solidariamente, we never say no. The only condition for us is to really test the compromise and the effort that person will put into the project, because that's something really necessary.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So I understand there is no age barrier here. So that's really good. Another thing is like, due to this pandemic situation where, excuse me, where it is difficult to travel. So how can, if anybody is interested, how can they give their support to your organization in this point?
So I think I can take that. I think that COVID, in a way, or the virtuality around COVID has helped us a lot, because we had been able, in a way, to connect with places around the world that we didn't even thought about connecting. So this helped us grow. But within our landing page, solidariamente.org. Sorry, I said it in Spanish. We really are hoping to get to people from around the world, and that's why we are using that as a powerful tool, especially in this new virtual world, to get to those people. And if there's anyone interested in helping, we should leverage that page, and through there we can get their impact and their help. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So another point here is like, is there any major domain that exactly you are looking for, like education, or maybe malnutrition or something like that, or it's like it's addressing all over, like how, what do you think?
So I'll take this
Yeah,
one, Nico.
sure.
Yes, we don't specialize in any specific branch. Okay, for you to know, we have like 8 projects in Argentina, and they range from education to poverty that are tackling poverty, that are tackling family things, that are tackling communities. We don't really have a specific part that we're supporting. So any NGO that might be listening to us now or might be interested, we're happy to help. The powerful thing about the framework and the consulting in a way mindset is that toolkit or that framework in a way helps us help different types of NGOs regardless of what they do. So yeah, even though that's a really wide answer, we don't really focus on a specific NGO type.
Right. So, if I understand, like if any NGO from India, if they are really looking forward for getting in touch, so they can reach you out on your social media pages, and that's how we can work take it ahead.
Yes, they
On our
can
website.
website. Yes,
All right.
there's a form they can complete, and they are automatically in our database, so we can contact them and talk and get set into a meeting with them to decide how to continue.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
the website. Thank you, Nico.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I guess these were the major things that I could get from people when I'm talking around, and most of the points have already been covered by in different parts in the presentation by all of you. So any last thing that you would like to address to our students, or maybe give some message to them, or anything like that? So then,
No, from our end is to prompt everybody to get in touch with us. We are super open. We have time to speak to anybody. We can do particular sessions for any student that is interested, not only to participate in a university frame, but also if someone else is hearing this and would like to probably take this to their communities, to their countries, if there's any other NGO that is interested in working with us, we always aim to expand our impact more and more and more. We are in an expansion phase. So basically, is to invite everybody to collaborate with us. I think that Solidariamente is something that will definitely be a game changer in your life, and that we are excited to be sharing this with everyone here, and to open to any possibilities that can arise around the world, because that's how we move forward, and that's our main philosophy. So I don't know, Maru, or August, if you want to add something.
Just
That was great, Nico. Thank you. And again, to invite you all to get in touch and really motivate yourself with this kind of projects. And if that's with us, that's great. And we are on it.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add a quick thing. I remember that when I was in university, that I heard about these things, and I never had the courage to say, "Okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna help." Perhaps I had the imposter syndrome that I thought, well, perhaps this is not for me. I'm not good enough, but that's just not true. I know it's from your side where you're sitting, where you're hearing, you might feel this, but just try to do it. You will love it, and you will also help your community and the world. So yeah, feel free to reach out. Thank you for the opportunity, Parul University, to help us talk and share our message. And thank you, Nico and Maru, for your words.
thank you
Thank you,
so much.
everyone.
Thank you so much. So, yeah, so again, once again, to my audience, those who are here, so it is not like if you are working with social work, or if you're related to social work, only then you can be a part of it. Any person who is passionate, or any person who wants to give some contribution towards it, is always, are looking forward to please come ahead and get in touch. So once again, I would like to extend a very big thank you to Nicholas, Maria, and Augusto for your time. I understand it's a different time zone for you there. So you made yourself available for our students. It's again a very big thing for us. And we hope we will definitely be in touch in future for more things that we will be planning ahead. So thank you so much for your time. And
Okay.
Thank you.
good to see you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Very
Bye.
much
Bye.
for our university.
Bye.
Bye.